Oh, put the phones on silent, Babaka Shah. Forgot to tell you, bro. Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Kahalayim, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakahakwadash. Double honors to our apostles, elders, and bishops of the Great Millstone. Shalom and salutations to you, Akim, out here pushing the words of truth and sincerity. Shalom to all the Lord's elect, Akim and Akwathi, scattered Israelites and Israelite foreigners. I brought this out. This video is edifying. It's myself, the brother Rapah Moth, alongside Priest Adon and Priest Samak. We are a Great Millstone with the branch here at Birmingham, Alabama, coming back with another lesson for the night, for the Monday Night Live. The topic is urgent pandemic alert. Deadly new virus spreading rapidly. It's not speaking about anything as of right now specific. It's pretty much written in prophetic language. All right. If anything, it's talking about something that's about to hit. So sometimes when it comes to prophecies, not sometimes, but all the time, when it comes to prophecies, you can treat prophecy as if it's current news. All that does is get you prepared for a situation that you're about to run into anyway. That's what prophecy is. It's news taken as current news because you will run into that prophecy later on anyway. So we're going to deal with the pandemic alert or a pandemic. And we do have that word pandemic, I believe, on the screen, what we'll put up now. This is what pandemic says defined. Babaka Shah Samak, could you?
For that word pandemic, it says widespread occurrence of an infectious disease over a whole country or the whole at a particular time.
And straight up, this is what the scriptures tell us we're going to have to deal with and we're going to have to face, man. And this is not like a possibility, like you one day might, it's like that saying what Senator Biden told John Roberts at one point in time, or John Edwards, whoever that was, one of the Supreme Court justices. He was trying out for the position. He said, "You will have to judge on the microchip one day." That was pretty prophetic terms in the sense that we understand prophecy-wise that microchip will be the mark of the beast. We could very well go into an entire lesson and subject concerning just the mark of the beast and that prophecy. However, right now we're going to deal with the pandemic, and you don't hear a lot of your leaders talking about that. You will one day have to judge whether U.S. citizens have the right to receive certain medication or help from government during the pandemic, or are we going to leave them out there stranded? So, a pandemic in the sense of what the brother just read, widespread occurrence of infectious disease, is on the way prophetically. The second definition right here is a virus because the topic in the title, deadly new virus spreading rapidly. Yeah, we getting into that, man. We coming to that time. We're not ushering away from it. We're not scooting our chairs away from these guys. You guys are crazy, man. They talking about pandemic. Nah, we leaning in and getting excited about what the Lord about to bring. These things is called considered signs of the times. Can we get that Bakasha up on the as one of the precepts as well? And I see y'all brothers got it. But Samak, when you ready, just read that.
For that word virus, an infective agent that typically consists of a nucleic acid molecule in a protein coat. Is too small to be seen by light microscopy and is able to multiply only within the. Is it more?
Yeah. It's
Imagine
gonna
it
say
said
right down here.
only
Living
within
cell.
living cells of a host.
The water. Yup. Too tiny to see, man. So this is why pandemics is such a problem, man. These things is fast. They move and they spread fast. That's in the topic, right? Urgent pandemic spreading rapidly. So these things spread fast. They're hard to contain. Okay, if they already on the bus, they done hitting every. Now you got to find where the bus went. If they already people done got off the bus, now you got to figure out where they went. This man went to the airport. Oh hell! Now you got to touch down with everybody who was at the airport at the same time as this man. Now they done went to the one flew to Kenya, another person flew to Mozambique. This guy flew to Sydney, Australia. That guy flew to Istanbul. The other guy flew to St. Petersburg. It's a wrap. These things is fast. All right. When it comes to these molecules, some molecules is going to be on the surface, some molecules is airborne, as in the case of C19, the actual thing. All right. Some of them, they don't got no cure for it. Right. And another thing, some of them is just you can't how you contain it. You know, what do you do? At some point in time, you're gonna see things like quarantine. Can I get that definition as well put up? And I know you got the preset first, do you? Was you able to, was anybody able to put up somebody but about somebody put up on Matthews 24 and go straight to the point about the pestilence.
Okay.
And what else I call for? Oh, you did already? Throw water, brother. I ain't see it. What you got there? No, you got something different.
Yeah, that's a little
Somebody put up
different.
Matthews 24. Okay, Con. That's a
Yeah,
good
what's
one
that?
too.
What's that definition, Bob? Bashar?
Oh shoot, what was it called? Oh, quarantine.
Quarantine. God.
Type of quarantine. Type up contagion. There was a movie. By the way, a lot of movies. Wilder Esau made so many movies from the 90s to the 2000s. Contagion or World War Z. Anybody remember any other ones? Outbreak. Okay, just to name a few. All right, so I'm looking for. Okay, here you go. Definition of quarantine. Could you, Priest Aldon, read that?
God. Yeah, so the definition for quarantine, it says quarantine is a separation and restriction of movement of people, animals, or goods that may have been exposed to a contagious disease. So the goal is to prevent the disease from spreading to others. It says until it is clear the exposed individuals are not sick or no longer at risk.
So quarantines, man. You know, deadly diseases, fast spreading, and then you got societal breakdown. But again, quarantine is, you know, moving of people, animals, goods. You got to have logistics for that. You got to have areas for this. You know what your stadiums are going to become? Quarantine zones. You know what your schools are going to become? Quarantine zones. And guess what? There's laws and legislation for the military to override that. That's called military readiness order that Trump put in office. Military readiness order is military is over health now. So yeah, quarantine zones are gonna pop up. Your local schools, stadiums. I forget what movie that was, where the entire stadium was used as a quarantine zone. It's a few of them. That's the automatic. You throw the people affected. They did that with Hurricane Katrina. You throw the affected inside the quarantine zone, which is a stadium. All right, so these are very real practices that's already kind of established. This is old school, right? But the thing is, depending on the disease and depending on how fast the people move, depending on if the government even want to tell the citizens, because eventually they got to share news with you, right? And if the government's saying or playing around with it and toying around with it, if you got a stage 5 virus going around or a stage 10, whatever that might look like, virus going around, And then you got certain people in the government basically saying, "Oh, this is COVID all over. Don't react to it." At some point in time, it's going to outbreak. At some point in time, contagion is going to be too late. At some point in time, if you don't get things under control immediately, then it's going to be a complete repercussions to that. And this is the days we living in, man. Don't be surprised when your government makes that statement that we need everybody from this entire city. The city's on lockdown. You know, your wife might be in the other part of the city at the time of the outbreak, and the news comes out, and she's cordoned off to a containment zone at another part of the city where you can't get to. Lockdowns. That's another word that we came familiar with during 2020. But this is Babaka Shah Samat.
Khan. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Babaka Shah, can you break it down for a second?
Yeah, Khan. Just going into the times we're coming in, because we know if you start up at verse 3, the disciples were inquiring of Lord Yahushua what'll be the signs of the end times. And Lord Yahushua started breaking it down to them. Watch for these things. This is what you will see to nowhere at the end. So these are things that we're seeing playing off in the planet Earth right now. We see the build up to the famine. You know, we're seeing pestilences, as you know, we're going to videos in a minute. We see earthquakes in diverse places, in places where you don't normally have earthquakes. You have, I know in Italy a few months ago, there were like 1,000+ earthquakes in one day. So our Lord Yahushua was telling us to look for before the destruction of Babylon the Great and his great return upon planet Earth. But you got it.
And read for the brother. This is Jeremiah.
This is Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence.
So there you go. So like the elder mentioned earlier, you know, what prophet or who is really talking about the pestilences? You know what I'm saying? When you look around these different Israelite groups, you don't see anyone really warning about the future pestilences that's coming. That's a part of prophecy. As you just read in Matthew the 24th chapter, briefing his disciples, that's one of the things that he warned about. So when we see things circulating as far as, you know, diseases spreading, right? The measles, what's that? They're talking about disease X, you know, the monkeypox,
bubonic plague.
Plague. Oh, the Lord gonna bring all these things back, and he has pretty much gave the keys over to Esau, you know, to facilitate these diseases. Okay, that's a part of Esau's great wrath. Okay, I'm coming down with great wrath because his time is short. So when you think about the CDC, all right, the Center for Disease Control, all right, he wants to control or have pretty much authority over these diseases as he dishes them out. But again, that's really from Yahweh Shemal Shai, man. So although he has control, okay, Esau in a sense is really controlled by Yahweh Shemal Shai. He sanctioned the elect to be delivered from these things. Then that's what we put our trust in. Okay, but again, going back into the warning from the prophet, this is what we talked about, right? This is what the prophets talked about. And we're doing the same thing today. Okay, y'all got it.
Showing you who the prophets are. Everything is back in again. You know, that's an entirely new lesson, which is reincarnation. How the prophets will be back in their same lots in the last days. Who else is talking about pestilences, man? Or are people going on talk shows and acting like sitcoms, acting like celebrities? All right, you got to think about that. This is the book of 2nd Ezra 15 and 11. I'll read it. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and I will destroy all the land thereof.
Yeah, Khan. And this going into the reason why we're seeing these things occur, you know, and it's all going into the deliverance of the children of Israel, beginning with, well, the deliverance of the elect of Israel, because we know 2/3 are going to be cut off here and die. But just as the Lord did in ancient Egypt, he's going to do the same thing here in modern day Egypt. But we know the Lord brought, you know, many plagues to the land of Egypt. And one of them was pestilences and diseases. I was reading the book of Exodus today, just going into that, and we seeing these things. The Lord is bringing these things again, to this spiritual Sodom and Egypt, and all because this place have to be destroyed because they've held captive his children, man. Well, you got it. Oh, Salaki, and if I may,
This is
Salaki, Elder,
yeah, go ahead.
and it says, and I will destroy all the land thereof. Just going into and to let you know, ancient Egypt wasn't destroyed totally. It's still over there as a landmass now. But the Lord is going to finish this place off after he dusted and pelted with the plagues and pestilences. He's going to do it with that ultimate plague, which are thermonuclear missiles, man. But Salaki, you got it there.
So many plagues to deal with in so little time. The Lord said, except those days should be short and no flesh be saved. The brother mentioned the CDC, man. All right, that beastly system. If you can, go ahead and slide that dictionary up on the that definition up on there as well when you get a chance. I'm gonna read Matthew 16:2 for you right now. I done. This is Matthew 16:2. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. Verse 3. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. Oh, you hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times.
You don't have the spirit of prophecy. Basically what that's going into. So you can decipher everything else, but when it comes to the prophetic things that Yahweh Shah spoke about, you're pretty much Ray Charles to it. You know what I'm saying? You can't see these things coming down the pipe. Or even if you do see them, you're not warning the people. So again, we are commanded to know what's going on in the earth as far as what these devils got planned on left-hand side to obtain their new world order, because they have God-like power and capabilities, man. This man controls the weather. I was looking at the sky today, how this man is just lighting the sky up with chemtrails, weather manipulation. At the same time, they pours in the air. Okay. And so they're able to create, earthquakes, hurricanes or whatever, tornadoes, making fire come down on earth. All right. So how much more the peasants? Okay. We got to warn you about these peasants because you're going to need protection from Yahweh Shema Shah in these times. Yep. That's it, though. I believe I was
again. Some of these viruses. Yep. Salaki, I got you. Yeah, some of these viruses. When you start to just do a quick study on viruses, man, they got different characteristics. They're living organisms, so they don't just move the same way. You don't handle C19 the same way you handle bubonic, right? You don't handle Ebola, which is I think that's bubonic too, the same way you handle some other ones, man. The flu. So you got strains, then you got the strains. Here it is, the flu alone. How many strains do you hear about the flu? What you good and you healthy with the flu from the East Coast, but then you travel over to down south of the West Coast, that flu strain is different. So the Lord don't play about this, man. Some things will wipe you out quick. Some things it'll slowly break down your organs. All right. Some strains last longer airborne. Some things will only be on the surface. You hand to hand. You got to pass it. It's fluid like or whatnot. How do you know? If you can't, going back to the definition of virus, it's at an anatomic level. I believe it's anatomic or nucleus atomic level. It's so small you can't see it. So the average citizen, you don't got you can't rely on your own logistics or logical skills to even figure out what this virus finna do, how it's about to backflip, being transmitted. You can't rely. Y'all barely can understand how to not catch STDs, man. Isn't that a virus that Jake had trouble with? Don't let Ebola come around, man. It's a wrap. So what's Jake gonna do immediately? They're gonna immediately rely on the government. And at some point in time, the government is going to be overran. They only so strong. They only got so many resources. There's only so many heart monitors at the hospital. You're going to overrun the hospital. Guess what? If a virus spread at the hospital, you know what happens? Can you type in the definition for attrition? This is a word I had to look up. Attrition. Yeah, you got hospitals at max capacity. No more beds out. It's standing room only. All right. The ventilators ain't working no more properly. And then you have something called attrition. Let me know when you got that up there.
Yeah, I got you. Might post in the
All
chat.
right. Yeah, post it. Oh, okay. Yeah, just read if you want. Just read it since you got
Okay.
it there.
All right, Con. Yeah, so the definition for attrition, it says the action or process of gradually reducing the strength or effectiveness of someone or something through sustained attack or pressure.
Mm-hmm. Let's try attrition of employees. The phrase attrition of employees. Let's see what that phrase look like. Okay, so again, you gonna overwhelm the healthcare system. They're gonna have to ration out who gets a bed. What you got? Attrition of employee. You can read it and then go into it.
Okay, Con. So attrition of employees, the phrase, it says, is a formal phrase that refers to the gradual reduction in workforce size when employees leave due to resignation, retirement, or position elimination and are not replaced. It's a natural process that results in a smaller total number of employees over time.
That's called, that's another word for that. What you got? Say it again.
Oh, Slack. I thought you wanted me to go into it. You got it.
Another word for that is when people stop coming to work. They say F this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Some of the hospital workers, some of the nurses is gonna catch it. When these things spread and it's something serious and severe, like Ebola, you think your average nurse know how to deal with that? The average doctor know how to deal with that? Top tier, level 5, 10, level 10 kind of pandemic situations. Your average nurse working a 9 to 5, paying a mortgage, don't know how to deal with that. So they're gonna get the hell up out of there. Their husband's not gonna let them come to work no more. Staff is gonna be dying. And so you're gonna have a natural attrition of the workforce. People stop coming into work. You're not gonna find enough employees to run a hospital no more. So that's gonna be a symptom of a real widespread pandemic. That's what it's really like. You go to your hospital, ain't nobody really there to help you, but it's 1,000 people in line.
Slack,
so they hoarding you up. Guess who steps? Go ahead.
Oh, Slack for cutting you off. I had pulled up on AI overview hospital attrition, and it's backing up exactly what you're saying, if I may. It says hospital attrition refers to the high rate at which healthcare professionals, especially nurses, leave their jobs, creating significant staffing shortages, increased costs, recruitment, training agency staff, and negatively impacting patient care, driven by factors like burnout, workload, poor management, and changing worker expectations, particularly for younger generations like Gen Z. It says recent figures show overall hospital turnover around 18 to 20%, with nurses and allied healthcare staff facing even higher rates, requiring strategies focused on culture, growth, and flexibility to improve retention.
That's why they quarantine. That's why the military steps in. Because your average hospital is overrun, and they ask for the United States government or whatever government this is. Remember, a pandemic can hit the world. We just bragged the definition. Pandemic is all. That's what the word pan mean. All. Epidemic is small or a center. Epi. So by the time it's pandemic, it's all over the place. You got world leaders gonna step in now. Take military action now. government action now, emergencies. You got military at the hospital guarding it. And immediately when you pull up with your little symptoms, your whole family pull up with y'all symptoms, y'all get put in a wagon. And that wagon, that back of a pickup truck, and that pickup truck gonna bring you and drop you off to this quarantine zone. And you're gonna have orders to follow. They might say men over here, women over here. You might walk past dead hundreds of bodies with little sheets over them. Maybe not. Maybe they digging mass graves already. And guess what happens when you try to tell a military officer or somebody that no, you're not going in no quarantine zone. They all dying in there. No, we not separating. I won't leave my wife. What you think gonna happen? You run across the line of containment. Shoot on sight. You will be a casualty. They're not going to let you just make your own moves. That is lockdown situations. In the midst of all of that, you know what you're going to have is panicking. Okay? When they start hearing that, oh, they shooting at the quarantine zone, it's panicking now. Add panic to any situation where they're trying to keep order and see how it goes down, man. Look at Katrina. They was letting them bullets fly, man. And then you had regular citizens letting the bullets fly because somebody walking from a quarantine zone over into somebody else's neighborhood. All panic, right? People going crazy for drugs. They said the first thing that happens when the pandemic happens, and it's basically get too crazy, out of hand, social unrest start to happen, they break into the pharmacies and steal all the drugs. So you ain't gonna go to your doctor no more to be able to see. It's gonna be somebody who ran down on CVS. You're gonna have to go see that dude. There's levels, man. The Lord got this thing mapped out to go haywire, backwards. All right, so I see you got Second Ezra's up here. Let me read that for you. Second Ezra's 9:1. Was this the next precept? It was. Second Ezra's 9:1 says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
Con, if I may, just going back to the point the officer Adon brought out earlier, you know, of how important it is basically to know the times we're in. And we know 2/3 of our people are unaware. That's why they ain't going to know how to move. But just going back to when Yahushua spoke to the disciples back in Matthew 24:3, you know, and on down, you know, jumped in verse 7, which we brought out, telling you the signs to look for to know what times we're in. So it's very important, you know, to be occupied in prophecy, man, because you understand what the Lord's intents and purposes are, and you know what to look for to know when he's making certain moves upon planet Earth, which will cause you to know how to move. You know, and one of the main things we could do, you know, is just stay locked in and trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, trust in his word, because Salaki, just as he tell us the things that are coming upon the planet Earth, if you jump down to 2 Ezra 9, verses 7 and 8, he tell you what to do to be kept from these said perils. And that's by your works and by faith whereby you have believed. So if you believe, your works, your actions, is that word, conversation going to anastrophe, the way you conduct yourself is going to be a reflection of what you believe in. You know, you're going to be doing your best to please Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You're going to be praying and hoping that he deliver you and have mercy upon you. But that's the only way to make it out of these things, by faith in the Lord and by walking in his way to the best of your ability and praying for his mercy. But you got it, Elder.
Real quick, Priest Adon, can you read that?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, so the acronym for CDC says primarily stands for the Center for Disease Control. which is a national public health agency of the United States. All right, something went wrong. There's a response. Well, that's pretty much it as far as the definition.
Okay. And you know, that's the first step of all of this global pandemic stuff, is that the average citizen, they don't know how to deal with this, man. This not what we get paid to do. This not what your everyday McDonald's employee know how to determine what kind of virus is out. So you're gonna have to rely on set up established government officials to give you the proper information on what to do. If you got a imbalance of or lack of trust amongst the government and inside the government, they don't even trust each other. You got the right versus the left. Republican is, it's not agreed upon on party lines. It's already the virus ain't gonna stop because they can't agree whether this is misinformation or not, and they want to sit down for 2 months and take a look at the studies. That's how things spread. And ultimately, what we do know is that there's shadow governments, man. Your government agents might not know what the other government agents is planning. Here it is. Some of them is taking it seriously. We have a virus on hand. We need to organize and centralize this, get this under control. Meanwhile, this the third guy behind him is in on it. You can't have no shadow governments in everything runs smoothly and everything's under control. Because some of them involved with the control part. And CDC that's what it is. It's supposed to be controlled. The diseases is all supposed to be controlled. Why we got these outbreaks? Because the Lord prophesied that it would happen, man. All right. So let's get into this right here. Somebody, you mind reading this for the brother?
Con, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 59, the NLT.
Salaki, could you go to the next one? I kind of posted them backwards. Verse 58.
Okay, I got you.
Then 59, the water.
Con, this is Deuteronomy 58, Salaki 28 and 58 in the NLT. If you refuse to obey all the words of instruction that are written in this book, and if you do not feel the glorious and awesome name of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, your power. We need the next verse.
Yeah, you can go to the next one.
Yep, gotcha.
But this, setting the tone right there. This is a warning from the Lord, of course, man. For the Israelites. So for disobeying that word, well, this is going to be the consequence. You got it, bro.
It says, then the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah will overwhelm you and your children with indescribable plagues.
Indescribable. Go ahead.
These plagues will be intense and without relief, making you miserable and unbearably sick.
Yeah, and so Jake is Israel as a nation has went through many times of being plagued with this different pests and sicknesses, but we're in a time right now that the Lord is letting you know who's really the cause of these things that are taking place. First and foremost is him, but again, he has a sword. He has Esau to facilitate this now. So the plagues that are coming, they're going to be overwhelming. All right. Now, what's that disease where you develop sores and start with an M? But pretty much, man, that might be it. But you develop these fuck. Anyway, you get sores in your mouth, you bleed out your nose. Is that Ebola? Might be talking about Ebola.
Could be.
Yeah, so you're gonna have people bleeding their eyes. Yeah, bleeding out their eyes, not their nose, not their ass, out of their extremities. These are the type of horrible things. That's why the Lord is known as a very terrible power, because he can do these things until you and have you, dwelling that stuff, So we're here to promote the fear of Yahweh Shema Shai. There's a lot of people who deny this word. They're going to go through that stuff, man. And Job was a prime example. The Lord smote him with boils from his head to his toe. So how much more for you rebellious Jakes out there? Who deny this truth, man? Go ahead, bro. That was it on that. Come.
Now we got this definition here. Brother, want to read that, Samat?
just when you brought out earlier, Elder, about quarantine, it says quarantine, state, period, or place of isolation in which people or animals that may be exposed to infectious disease. Slack, you ain't got all of it. Let me get it. I'm gonna read the rest of it here. It says are placed. It just says are placed. So it's a state, period, or place of isolation in which people or animals that may have been exposed to infectious disease are placed. If I may, just going back into even what you just brought out, Elder, with them bringing the military in and this and that. This is one of the things that will happen. When these plagues break forth, they're going to be isolating you to certain places. You ain't going to be able to go to and fro. You're going to be under lockdown. We've heard that word before, certain lockdowns, but these things are going to increase. It's going to get worse and worse. We saw a light version of that test run during C-19, but these things are going to increase upon planet Earth. It's going to get more severe. But you got it.
All right. Can you read this for the brother? If you could, you know what? I got it. Adon put up, yes, Melinda Gates argued that after healthcare workers, Black people and Native Americans should have priority access to the C-19 jab due to disproportionate impact the pandemic, or we've been said that word, due to disproportionate impact the pandemic had on their communities.
There you go. So now we know who the target really is. Now you know why they got a CDC. They're able to pretty much manipulate diseases to tailor towards Jake. You know what I'm saying? They do that. So as Melinda Gates said, we call the nigga, Belinda or whatever, but they targeting, the tribes, man. That's why it's called Jacob's Trouble. So when they to put you into this category of you being, the most affected or the most harmed, the most vulnerable, not able to send like the brothers like y'all are going into as far as the military troops into your spot, into your neighborhoods, into the ghettos and all that, because I got to preach of the bad this up as well, because Esau paints a narrative as if he wants to help you, but you know that behind this guy's back, he's looking to, life, man. So we can get that in the book of Sirach, maybe 12th chapter. 12.
This is the book of Sirach 12 and 17. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first.
Right. So if
if
adversity comes upon you, so-called Blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, these devils gonna paint a narrative. You the most affected, the most vulnerable, or whatever, so that they can come in and really do what they want to do with you. So like we was talking about with the quarantine, by the military, they want to come in and round you up and place into these concentration camps, so they can really just off you, chip you up and do whatever, man. We're dealing with the devil here, but go ahead.
It says, and though he pretend to help thee, yet he shall undermine thee.
Right. So though he deceive you, not pretending to be, for your benefit, it's all deceit. All right. Esau's going to come down with wrath on Jay because you're going to be presented as a problem. All right. You got the virus, y'all are spreading it. We can't seem to get control of the situation. So now we got to go to extreme measures, just to corral the situation. So now they justify it into pretty much, using force. You know what I'm saying? That's a narrative that these devils are building up. Okay. And Jake is not really taking heed into that, man. But, it's going to be that. I think that was it on it, though.
What I want to do real quick is just go ahead and pull up this first video that brothers got. And we just going to speak on it a little bit, bring it out, and then get a little bit of commentary on it with some scriptures. This video is called, Is the World Ready for Another Pandemic? Al Jazeera.
Estimated that more than 400,000 people have already contracted it this year. And the World Health Organization says conditions are ripe for it to spread further. And that's without mentioning bird flu, dengue fever, measles, and monkeypox. Well, that is our topic for today. I'm Stephanie Decker, and welcome to The Street.
I have just recovered from whatever the hell this COVID strain is.
If you thought COVID was bad, bird flu can be worse. That's the next virus of concern that is being looked at as potential for the next pandemic.
The UK government believe there's another pandemic around the corner. This comes after fresh advice with the UK government advising people to stay at least 2 meters away from all types of birds.
Monkeypox is going to be the next pandemic.
You'd be worried about monkeypox as quick as I can. So it's a disease that leaves you with the fever, fatigue, and a rash that wears off in a couple of weeks. There's been a small number of outbreaks before, but the way it's been able to spread is hard to ignore. See, normally outbreaks have stayed in one place, but this week it's been seen in several states. And so the WHO is expected to investigate whether the strain's spreading undetected.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Now, the chikungunya virus has spread rapidly in China, leading the country to take measures that have reminded people there of COVID-era restrictions. Add to that, of course, the element of surveillance. Now, COVID-19 pandemic had a massive impact on the lives of millions of people around the world. So, will there be another pandemic in our lifetimes? Will we be ready for it? And how much closer can we be watched than we already are? Well, to discuss all of this, we are joined by Carmen Perez-Casa. She is the Senior Technical Lead and Head of Pandemic Prevention, Preparedness and Response at UNITAID. She's with us from Geneva. And we also have Albert Fox-Khan, Founder in Residence at the Surveillance Technology Oversight Project, a New York-based civil rights organization challenging government abuse of novel technologies. And he is joining us from New York. Thank you both very much for joining us. Carmen, I'm going to kick off this discussion with you and ask you bluntly, are you expecting us to face a pandemic again, as we have seen, let's say, in the next couple of decades?
Yes, the short answer is yes. Actually, the question should not rather be if we are facing it, but when are we actually going to face the next pandemic? We have already seen a 41% in surge of outbreaks in the last years. That includes the ones that we just saw in the clip, some of them, Mpox, chikungunya, or Ebola or Marburg. And the estimates predict that in the next decade, we have a 25% of chance of having another pandemic of the same magnitude of COVID. So to me, the question actually is not if or when, is what are we going to do to get prepared for the next pandemic?
All right, well, let me play a clip. This new virus, which is actually not new, mostly causes joint pain, severe fatigue, and rash. Now, this content creator recorded her own journey through chikungunya, the virus infection. Take a look.
It started with a rash all over my body, followed by 102.5 fever, then getting admitted to the hospital. I tried Epsom salt baths, but my body just wouldn't listen. Cutting food became a task. My hands shook and my joints screamed, but there was no way around it. Even breath work felt impossible. I tried to move, Okay.
So we just gonna go ahead and kind of let that play in the background. It just show you, man, we are that close to that time, man. Anybody want to make a statement or comment on that? What we just heard? If not, let's go ahead and run it down. I know the elder, the Zaquan Hawaii from GMS North Carolina, brought out some good precepts. I want to get that out too. Babaka Shah, Priest Ardan or Priest Amat?
Yeah, I got you. Khan. Book of 2 Esdras, chapter 14, verse 16. But yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter.
Greater evils, guys. We in that time, greater evils. So, yeah, so we're gonna definitely look forward to what's about to come. It's not so much as what we already did and what we already been through. That's what causes people to be settled and calm down and remain relaxed. The scriptures talk about an unexpectedness in these end times, about a perplexity and a distress caused by the fact that they were sleeping when the thief came in to steal. You know, even down to so-called UFO, so-called UFOs, with the Bible already confirms is the chariots of the Heavenly Father, the Lord. Your government denies its existence. Half of them wanted truth out and testify on what they saw, some of the pilots in the government, and then others wanted to remain a secret, as not to so-called have the society and the world panic. There's so much red tape in the ideas that when do you ever get to find out the truth about what's about to happen? You don't. Can we read that next verse?
God, verse 17, it says, for look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein.
And that's what we expecting to see. The evils increasing in the latter days, man. We're so much closer. And this scriptures is also likened many times throughout the scriptures. They're likened the end times prophecies that are going to come in these last days, being severe, being dramatic, being showing the Lord's wrath, the works of the Lord. All right, manifesting in doomsday prophecies are going to be so severe that people's not going to have an answer for them. They're going to be life changing, life altering. And as it says, it's likened unto a woman in travail when she's going through that certain trimester or labor pains. And then as more labor pains continue, as time continues, the pains get worse and more severe. And by the time that the baby's ready to be born, the birth of the child, she's at her worst pains, that unbearable pain that she's feeling. Man. This is why it's reserved for the future for it to be that most evil time. Did you already? Yep, you read this. Evil shall be increased in them that dwell therein. So we expecting more and more evils to happen. I'm gonna back it up with jump down with the elder put here. Matter of fact, let's start here. He threw a few of them up.
Kind of book of Matthew 24 and verse 21. It say, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be.
If I may too, man. Yep, great tribulation. Somebody pull up that word for tribulate, just the definition of tribulation. We know it means trouble. The great tribulation of these end times, man. Such as what? Such as never was since the beginning of this time, nor shall ever be. And I'm gonna just somebody quickly just read it, because I brought out a precept to go hand in hand with that in Daniel 12.
For that word tribulation in the AI overview, tribulation means severe suffering, distress, or trials, often from oppression or misfortune. A little bit more.
Okay.
But in
severe stuff.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's it.
Yep,
no, I got it. A little more. But in Hamashiach, it said Christian, but Hamashiach eschatology, which means end times, study of the end times, it refers to a specific intense future 7-year period of global judgment and chaos before Yahweh's second coming, involving intense suffering for the unbelieving world, a time when the church is believed to be, yeah, that's it. Involving intense suffering.
6-7.
Yeah.
It's that 6 and 7 Trump right there. That 6-7 right there, man. Come on, man. What we talking about? All right, we talking about you're not gonna be able to explain what's happening to your body. You're just gonna see symptoms, blood pouring out from your nose. You're gonna see your child eyes roll to the back of their heads. We're talking devastating situations, man. Don't you know some viruses just attack your neurology? Just attack your brain. And you know, I'm of the belief that they got a certain virus by now that just turns a person into what we consider a zombie, or puts them in some type of a zombie kind of state, like a rage. Think about a rage disease. And why would you say, you know, what kind of disease is he talking about? First of all, for those who do not know, artificial intelligence isn't just for making pictures, changing up your family pictures and making them realistic, or making them move around in the background. All right, or making cool effects to videos. Artificial intelligence, or AI, or their deep think, is also being used currently by in off-grid labs, specifically in Ukraine, where the U.S. had a lot of biolabs, and they're recreating and inventing new viruses. Now you can look this up, fact check it, be like the Bereans, man. Don't take my word for it. Just let this send you into a whole another deep search. But your government has been conspiring on what it can use as potential weapons. Is this not the characteristic qualities of a Edomite? Right? Didn't we just the brother just read where he's talking about, basically don't trust them, and he's as the devil. Don't we know that Esau was using, or reportedly he was using sonic weapons over there in the capturing of Maduro in Venezuela? That's just coming out. He had certain things that was being used, was on Maduro's side, said they was feeling severe pain and their head trauma. Did y'all brothers hear about that?
Con.
Oh yeah.
So we're in a time like that, and that's why the brother brought, put that up there, or I'll put this up there. Did we finish out Daniel 12:1?
Oh, I got you. Yeah, Daniel
Go ahead.
12:1. God. It says, at that time, Michael, the archangel who stands guard of your nation, will arise. Then there will be a time of anguish greater than any since nations first came into existence.
Greater than any since nations first came into existence. And this is the NLT version. But let's keep going.
God, it says, but at that time, every one of your people whose name is written in the book will be rescued.
So we need that. We need a great higher intervention. We need the prevention from being destroyed by some of these strains and some of these various diseases that artificial intelligence now is behind. All right. So the idea of creating a disease that just causes people to attack anybody that they see, that's no longer like something, an impossibility, right? Because they already know what certain medicine could do, how it could cut you off, make you sleepy, a drowsy medicine, or this medicine makes you, it alters your thinking like this. It's it cures depression. This medicine over here is an antidepressant. So they know how to cut off certain things, doors in your mind. So what if they create a disease with the code or RNA inside it and spread it? And the symptoms of it is that it makes you attack people that you love. It causes you to be enraged with malice and envy, and people start wiping each other out. What if that's the next one up? Do you know? Are you a part of these meetings? And the fact that we speaking about it makes people, quiver like, well, man, y'all just talking about stuff. Y'all just bringing it out yeah, that's what type of spirit the Lord put us in these last days, to make kind of suggestions, because the scriptures is building up to a certain point in which you're going to need salvation from a divine salvation. Let's go back into the video's doing whatever it want to do now. Let's get out of there. Playing games and stuff. My bad. How long was that going on?
Yeah, probably 2 minutes.
Oh, damn. Oh, Khan, I got you. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. Yep. So going back to this precept, if we can, with the precept Elder Hawaii put up. Let's go here.
Khan, the book of 2 Edges 14 and 17, it says, for look how much the word shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein.
That's right. Evils will increase upon those that dwell therein. And so this is what we're expecting, man. Evil, more evil. Again, use your imagination. What kind of new technologies Esau going to use that you haven't heard of? The government is 25 years ahead of modern technology. Okay, they had GPS and they had the same quality level of AI that people use today. They had that in the year 2000. So what do they have? What capabilities now as technology increases in these last days, man? You have to consider what you will actually run into out here in the times of catastrophic judgment that the Lord has, the likes of which you've never seen before, man. Evil shall be increased upon them that dwell therein. Can we grab this one here?
The book of 2 Timothy 3:1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Hey, Zaquan, you there? I think Zaquan froze up. Yes, I'm gonna read this again. 2 Timothy 3:1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And just going back into that the aspect of Esau being the sword, there's a reason why it's called Jacob's trouble, because this man is looking to pretty much, for one, play the Most High. He wants to be the Most High. At the same time, he wants to rule over the house of Israel. And so he has pretty much been given the power to, to play the Most High, to create pestilences, to create different diseases. Are you back here?
Back up.
God.
Yeah, Esau. Say it. Man. Yeah, it just went zoop.
Yes.
Go ahead, Alex Lockett. Was you reading it?
Yeah, I was just going into it, how,
so
he wants to play the Most High. So he's able to go into the lab. Like the scripture say, there comes a diligent search. All they do is research on how to destroy. And so, with the pestilences, you got certain drugs such as with bath salts. I don't know if you remember the case about the guy in Miami or whatever in Florida who ate the guy's face. They say he was on bath salts, so they say he was pretty much in zombie mode. You know what I'm saying? So how much more with the technology that he has to really initiate that shit, in masses? Well, you got people committing with some so-called zombieism, if that's a word, what is going around and just chomping at people, but they got drugs to do that, man. So Esau, he's gonna let it all out. That's why it's gonna equate into the worst time in human history. But you got it.
That's right. Let's take a look at this real quick. This video we got lined up.
Stop thinking about 2020 for a second. What if I told you that the global lockdown, the masks, and the panic were just the dress rehearsal? Scientists are no longer asking if the next big one is coming. They are asking when. And the data suggests that COVID-25 could make 2019 look like the common cold. In the quiet corridors of the World Health Organization and top virology labs, there is a placeholder name that keeps experts awake at night. They call it Disease X. But for the purpose of today's analysis, let's call it by the name the internet fears most, COVID-25. You clicked on this video because you want to know if the rumors are true. Is it real? Is it worse? Today, we are going to look at the cold, hard simulation data. We aren't doing conspiracy theories here. We are going to break down the biological mechanics of a hypothetical supervariant, one that combines the spread of measles with the lethality of MERS. We'll explore the Frankenstein scenario, the immune escape problem, and the one technological breakthrough that might be our only shield. Strap in. This is the science of the next pandemic. To understand why the next threat is exponentially more dangerous, we have to talk about two numbers, R0 and case fatality rate. COVID-19, in its original form, had an R0, R0, of about 2.5 to 3. That means one sick person infected roughly 3 others. The Omicron variant pushed that number up to 9, making it one of the most contagious viruses in history. But here is the catch. As Omicron became faster, it generally became less lethal. That's a common evolutionary trade-off. But nature doesn't always follow the rules. In our COVID-25 worst-case scenario, epidemiologists model a virus that breaks this trade-off. Imagine a pathogen with an R0 of 12 to 18. That is up there with measles. In this scenario, you could walk into a supermarket, spend 5 minutes in the produce aisle, and infect everyone in the queue without even coughing. Now, apply the second number, lethality. COVID-19 had a mortality rate hovering between 0.1% and 3% depending on the healthcare system. The hypothetical COVID-25 models warn of a rate between 5% and 15%. Let that sink in. A virus that moves as fast as a rumor, but kills with the efficiency of SARS-1. If this equation becomes reality, We aren't talking about hospitals being overwhelmed. We are talking about them ceasing to function entirely. You might be thinking, viruses don't just decide to become super killers, and you'd be right. But they do cheat. The most terrifying mechanism for this is called recombination. Here is the scenario researchers fear. A patient is co-infected. They have the highly transmissible Omicron circulating in their lungs, but they also contract an avian influenza, like H5N1, or a more lethal coronavirus, like MERS. Inside that patient's cells, the viruses replicate. If they infect the same cell, they can swap genetic material. It's like shuffling two decks of cards. Suddenly, you deal a hand that has the spike protein of the fast spreader, but the internal replication machinery of the lethal killer. This is the Frankenstein virus. It's not science fiction. It's basic biology. And it has happened before in influenza pandemics. Speed is the ultimate weapon. In 2019, we had a grace period. The incubation period was roughly 5 to 14 days. It gave contact tracers a chance, albeit a small one. To catch up, COVID-25 could rob us of that luxury. Simulations suggest an incubation window that shrinks to just 12 to 48 hours. This is the stealth phase. You get infected in the morning. You become contagious by the afternoon, but you don't feel sick until the next day. By the time you realize you have a fever, you have already exposed your family, your co-workers, and your entire commute. But wait, we have vaccines now, right? We have immunity from previous infections. We should be safe. Here lies the biggest problem: complete immune escape. The virus doesn't just get faster, it changes its code. If COVID-25 emerges via a radical evolutionary leap, like a zoonotic spillover from a mink farm or a cryptic lineage from an immunocompromised host, its spike protein could look completely different to your immune system. Your antibodies are like security guards looking for a criminal with a specific tattoo. If the criminal gets plastic surgery, the guards let him walk right through the front door. In this scenario, fully vaccinated or previously infected means nothing. We start from zero. But this time, the global population is fatigued. Healthcare workers are burned out. And trust in public health is fractured. That social vulnerability is just as dangerous as the biology itself. Let's walk through the first 30 days of this hypothetical pandemic. With the mortality.
Just real quick to reiterate what he just said. This is a good video, and it's detailing the little intricacies of what happens during the outbreak. First, the containment doesn't work, and the first people that's going to know about it is the likes of the government, different health agencies over there in England. Britain is called NHA, I believe, like the National Health Association. Over here, it's the CDC in the US. So these agencies, they come together on these matters. They're supposed to be the first ones that know, okay, we got an epidemic. They're supposed to know it from that phase. If they ahead of the public, right, they're confirming the cases. All right, they're trying to work on containment. By the time the public knows, it's supposed to be contained, because it's probably weeks, even months, maybe ahead of the public being it being made public. So by the time that the public knows, it's supposed to be already contained where you don't have to panic, like, or they don't even have to tell the public. But the way they know it is by the cases. How many cases during the C19, letting you know that it was an agenda behind the peep. It was an agenda. It's because every state announced that they had 33 cases. You remember that?
God.
Every state was announcing they had 33 cases out of nowhere. 33 cases, 33 cases. We know what that number 33 is involved with, man. So what is, again, this is a fake. It's a lot of it is pseudo, a lot of it is theater. For what? What are they doing? This is a push for NWO, New World Order. Again, the agendas, you don't gotta like the agendas in which they're gonna bring about a new order. You don't have to know the agendas or be briefed already that the world leaders and the world elite want to have the population of the world under 500 million. You don't have to be invited to that TED talk or that conversation. You don't have to be able to look up the YouTube video that somebody actually said it. You should be in the spirit to listen to prophets and listen to prophecy. We brought out all the prophecies. concerning what the end days and the last days will look like. We keep bringing them out. Matthew 24 about the famines and the rise of war up against nations and nation against nation and pestilences, earthquakes. We bring it out. These are the signs of the Lord's coming. Brother brought it out. Measure diligently the signs there in Ezra's 9th chapter. You know, the brother brought out Deuteronomy 28, you know, right here concerning the you know, the type of indescribable plagues that's going to overwhelm as a form of a curse that the Lord brings out and ushers out, you know. And so that's what we've been going into the whole time. You are not aware, if you're not aware that Esau Edom is planning, and part of his agenda is to release these things to do exactly what they do. They're weapons. It's called biological warfare, man. Do you do a quick word search or study on this thing? You're gonna find out that America is pretty much conquered through biological warfare with the release of the smallpox, you know, smallpox infected blankets. Biological warfare has been the part of America before America got its inception in 1776. So you're coming into, you're dealing with that kind of a guy, that guy, okay? That guy, you know, this the same guy who did, you know, there's a medical, there's a book called Medical Apartheid. I've been hearing about this since, you know, 2008. Where Esau used all of these different medicines, or you know, didn't use anesthesia on Negroes because he thought that their pain threshold was high, or they didn't feel no pain because we were subhuman. It goes back all the way to the beginning, man. They never cared. So to get their job done of an agenda, the best you can be informed of is through prophecy, because you know that he had but a short time. In Revelations 12, he got but a short time, so he's going to come down with great wrath. His time is limited. His time to rule is limited. He's in panic mode. So he's going to cause, as a leader, is sort of people. He's going to spread the panic. It's going to spread from the elite Edomites all the way down to the average citizens. When these designer viruses, that's a good word for it, designer plagues come out, that will cause immediate global unrest. That's like elite's wet dream, because he gets to bring in order from this chaotic situation. And what we understand now about Esau, how he gets down, is order out of chaos. Never let a good pandemic, never let a good war, never let a good catastrophe, never let a good destruction go without, you know, unused. Always find a way, always use destructions, use severe viruses, outbreaks, pandemics to bring about the change in the world order that you wanted the entire time. So they're going to come in fast. They're going to be airborne, Salaki, uncurable at times. They're going to reach everybody. They're going to spread quicker. He's going to be there spreading it. When you want to build a fire, you had people light fires in different areas, similar to, you know, with the reports of what was going on during the fires that happened over there in the Palisades of California not too long ago in the LA area. You had reports of people setting fires in different locations. That's how you spread fires faster. How do you spread disease? How do you spread virus fast? You set up different stages in which the virus can spread and how to make it spread, and you go to airports with it. The next thing you know is global already. We are in that time, and we're telling you ahead of that time, so you ain't got to go ahead and wait. Do we got anything?
Yeah, I'm about to post some up real quick. But if I could add to what you said, Zaquan. Yeah, because like, you know, the ones who took the jab already because of the first scare with C-119, they pretty much like ticking time bombs. You know, so Esau got them by the wayside, just waiting on that perfect moment for him to really initiate what he want to put out there, so he can pretty much use any kind of virus and say that, he gonna turn the 5G on and all that shit, 6G now, that can activate some of the graphene within the the C19 shot that can be activated, and people just start, bugging out, falling out dead, and they can blame it on another virus. And all of a sudden, everybody's scared and panicking. Now they going to take another jab. Nigga just took 3, 6 boosters. So he's going to get another because he's
boosters, right?
Yeah, them boosters. So he just, this is what these devils do, man. They're the ultimate deceivers. But if I can get this precept real quick, Proverbs 4:16. So it says, I'm just gonna post it real quick.
God, yeah, and I'll read it for you.
God.
Right. This is the book of Proverbs 4, verse 16. It says, "For they sleep not, except they have done mischief."
Yeah, so they don't
sleep
sleep.
is taken away.
Yeah,
unless
so they don't sleep.
cause some. Oh, Salaki, we got a little delay. I'm gonna
Yes,
read
it's
it.
like-
I'm gonna read the first half. Proverbs 4:16. For they sleep not, except they had done mischief.
Right. So going back into how they accomplish a diligent search, Esau is always in a lab researching and going into things and trying to see how he can, recreate the bubonic plague or something like that. Taking a real virus and manipulating it, altering it into his likeness so that he can control it. So the CDC, there's a reason why they don't just kill all the viruses. Why they got to control it? Why not just eradicate the virus? It shows that they have a bigger agenda, with these things that they got, in these labs. So they sleep not and said they have done mischief, caused some trouble. You got us, Quan.
And their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall.
Right. And so who do they want to fall? All right. Ultimately, they're targeting you so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans first and foremost, because they know that you got next. They know that you are the next rulers in the earth. And so everything that they do is centered around keeping you at a lower state, keeping you, from populating, okay, and trying to destroy you. I want to get another precept if I may.
I could read it for you if you want. It's just to make it time sensitive,
God, Psalm
Instead of posting it
62.
unless
Yeah, Psalm
62.
Verse 3.
God, let me just read it. Psalm 62 and verse 3. You want it, KJ?
God.
It says, Psalm 62, verse 3. It says, "How long will ye imagine mischief against a man?"
Yeah, and that's what they do. That's why they sleep not and say they'll cause something to fall. And again, they imagine a mischief against Jacob. You got it.
"Ye shall be slain, all of you, as a bowing wall shall ye be, and as a tottering fence."
Go ahead.
They only consult to cast him down from his excellency.
There you go. So it's all centered around. Yeah, it's all centered around them keeping Jake, under their feet. And so they go through these different avenues and all this in-depth research of how to keep you Jakes at a base level. They target your food, they target your water, they target, of course, your education. So that's why Jake is in such a bad state or a bad condition, because they've been plotting on this whole time. So now we finna go into the ultimate plot, and which they're gonna literally just try to do away with a lot of you out there, right? Cause you to take the Karagma, okay, and cause you, of course, to take the next jab that's coming out because of the fear of the whatever PDM they're gonna come up with. And they're gonna be in your neighborhoods. All right. This is the reason why we constantly warn you Israelites of the impending danger that's coming, because Esau is like a madman, he's like a mad scientist, you know what I'm saying, who's in a lab always looking to destroy you, as the scripture says. So, Yep. But that's it, Squam.
Con. I see we got a quick preset. Let me see. Yeah, matter of fact, this is what I put up. Slaki. If you can, Babakasha, let's read this right here. Second
Kind of book.
Thessalonians 2, 1 through 7.
Kind of 2 Thessalonians 2, 1 through 7 KJV. It says, "Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled."
Yeah, listen, first and foremost, not be shaken in mind, not be troubled. Yeah, we're talking about calamity, destruction. How can you not be shaken in mind? Because we're grounded and rooted and built up in this word. We got faith, y'all. This is what we're relying on in these last days when all forms and fashions of tribulation and these plagues start to come about. Yahweh Bahashim Yashar warned about these, not for us to be all confused, perplexed, but bewildered when they start to happen, but be more faithful when we start to see that these are the things that was prophesied of, man. The Heavenly Father makes no mistakes. He set us up in these last days to speak on these things. And now here they are happening. Now look at the panic of the masses of people. Now look how they being quarantined and set up decontamination zones. People being shot down, like mass, break-ins, food scarcities happening, social unrest happening. These are all the signs, man. All right, people panic buying, emptying stores out, looting, all the factors that come along with a fallen and a failed contamination. All right, misinformation, perplexity. All right, widespread terror and horror in these last days. And don't think you're gonna be sitting at home getting your orders and your Amazon shipments coming in. Them people you're gonna have economic employment attrition happening in the logistics department and transportation departments too, because spreading of disease. So that means people gotta halt what they doing. People just infected out here. All right. Your daily butcher might get infected. Now all the meat is compromised. There's levels to this thing, and the Lord going to exercise all full rights to bring this society down. And he's using Esau to do this. This is why you not be troubled in mind. Don't be troubled when all of these things is happening. Reading on.
God says, "Neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that day." It's like as that the day of Hamashiach is at hand. So let no man deceive you by any means, for their day should not come except they come and fall away first.
They came a falling away by the way of Israel not knowing who we are. Another people is claiming to be us. We don't have our original Hebrew language. We're not actually speaking it on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, our people don't feel like they're tied at all to it. You have to overcome the challenge of normalcy bias, a cognitive dissonance in order to come back into this word. The Lord got to operate and open doors of your mind so you can sup and sit with Yahushua to reach the Father and be forgiven. And these are the qualities in which it takes. You have to trust, you have to obey, you have to wait upon the Lord, you have to do all of these things. And you have to begin to understand prophecy. That's the testimony of Yahushua, the spirit of prophecy. So now we can see it's about to go down. All right. But the falling away first means that we didn't know we had to relearn all of this stuff. All right. Because of cargo slavery, right? Let's read on. It's falling away first. Let me see. What was that next verse? It says, "And that man." Okay, let's put that one on.
Khan, it says, continue on, "And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worship."
All right. So and there was a revealing of who the man of sin is, and this is back during the time of the Roman Empire, correct? Paul calling himself a Roman. The Caesars was on hand, right? Emperor Nero was around during that time. If I'm not mistaken, Emperor Nero. Paul says I was taken out of the teeth of a lion at one point. And many scholars believe that he was talking about referencing Emperor Nero. You could do your diligent search on that. Whereas, because he was incarcerated. But what we're gonna have is that now what's being exercised is the revelation of who this man is, the son of perdition, the man of destruction, the man of sin, who sitteth and exalteth himself above all that is called God. When you consider Trump, you consider him a man that exalts himself above everything. We are the greatest. We are not. He don't have a fear of of the Lord in his bones, man. All right. And yes, as you would go into different, as we would wage war into different um lands as Israelite people, the people of the Lord, we wouldn't just do it without exercising the first rule, which is to go to the prophets and see if the Lord is with us. Is Lord, are you with us on this mission? He might not be with you, so you wouldn't do it. You damn sure wouldn't say, whoever we come against, we gonna defeat. That is the language of an empire that believes they are above the Lord. They do not they consult with witches and magi's. Look into the history of America or these Edomites, whether it's the Germans, Russians, they consult with warlocks, witches, soothsayers, monthly prognosticators. They consult with them before they go into battles. The Israelite people were supposed to consult. King David mainly was consulting with Yahweh Shemiah Shah first. So that's the proof. This is the man of sin, and he exalts himself. Let's keep going.
Con, did you want to finish that last part, the last one, the last
Where am
verse?
I at? Over.
I think we stopped
see where
halfway.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yep. Doth already work. Only he who not let will let until he be taken out of the way.
Yeah, the mystery of iniquity, and that's the language that was used at that time to describe in these end times Esau would be ruling. And guess what? You could say, well, that was written in the Roman Empire, man. How you attribute that to? Guess what? Guess what? The deadly wound being healed in the book of Revelation is speaking and referring to. What was that? Revelation 13, from the top on down. It's referring to a beast, and the second beast or dragon is like, cause all to worship the first beast before it, then the same image of the beast. So what is the image of the beast? That's the Roman Empire. Everything about Babylon, America, is like to the first Roman Empire. It's just modified. It's the modern day version of Rome all over again. So when you talk about the mystery of iniquity doth already work, they didn't recognize that Satan or Eve or the devil was already here. It was already working. They was trying to figure out, well, who is this devil in these end time scenarios that the prophets are prophesying of? That was the Roman Empire that existed at that time. Now we're in the last leg of the Roman Empire. Remember how the legs of iron, and then you have feet of part iron and part miry clay? That is NATO and the EU. That's the weakness of some of the EU states and NATO states, and then the strength of others. The strength of Britain with the weakness of Greece. So you can understand the economic weakness and the military weaknesses is both mixed in. So you have not the strength of the old aged iron Roman Empire, but you have a mixture of a weakened. So this is, and right after that weakened feet at the end, the feet symbolizes the end of something. You had the great stone, thrown at the feet of the statue, the image of Nebuchadnezzar in Nebuchadnezzar's dream of the statue, thrown at the feet, smit the feet, and the entire statue collapsed and fell. All right. And Daniel's dream about the fourth beast, the Roman Empire. Again, America is the last part of that. All right. Talks about a stout horn. That's America. The more stout, more proud. Even more specifically, Trump, the proudest president you've ever seen in your lifetime in history. It gets prouder. All right. This is at the height of American pride right now. So that stout horn of this beast. And now what you have is this fourth beast. It was slain. It was slain by the coming of Yahweh Shah, who the world said, who himself, he said, watch therefore, for you not know what hour I come. So we're all paying attention, we're all in tune, and we're all doing what? We're watching. Not worried, not troubled, not overly emotional, not fearful, but watching. That's all I got. I see you got two. Let me go ahead and put this up in here. Matter of fact, let's read this quick precept brought out.
God. Yeah, the book of Isaiah 26 and verse 3, it says, thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee.
Yeah, we trust in thee, and that's what the bottom line is. There's going to be all kind of panic situations. Again, it's not going to be easy fixes to some of these pandemics that's about to be spread out here on purpose. They're designed to annihilate. They're going to be these new ones, these AI new ones, these designer viruses are going to be designed to wipe out millions of people to usher in this new world order agenda. You're going to look to either Yahushua as your savior or Esau as your savior in that day. As you can see, he ain't scared. He ain't timid. He's as proud as he need to be able to implement all of these infectious diseases the way he wants to be able to squeeze. Right? The scriptures talk about that. It's great squeezing, which is that word distress of nations goes into the root word of it. So he has to squeeze you into the stall so that you can take that jab and that medicine. All right, it's all about getting you to receive a mark, whether you believe it or not. That's what all of these designer viruses is for. So we trusting in Yahweh Shemel Shai. You can read the next one he got up.
Kind of prayer of Azariah, chapter 1, verse 9. It says, and thou didst deliver us into the hands of lawless enemies, most hateful forsakers of the Most High, and unto an unjust king and the most wicked in all the world.
Here you go. Trump again, unjust king, because they got orders to basically take down any citizen who got a Spanish sounding last name. They got a right to check your ID or rough you up, and you and your children snatch people up. That's not beginning of that's not a demonstration of how everybody can live together. That's a demonstration of you have to fear your neighbor and fear your government. Fear is being pushed. Can you read that Babak Shah one more time?
God, prayer of Azariah, chapter 1 and 9. It says, and thou didst deliver us into the hands of lawless enemies, most hateful forsakers of the Most High, and into an unjust king and the most wicked in all the world.
Most hateful forsakers of the Most High, man. So when it comes down to them telling you, get back, or we're going to shoot you, they will. They're going to give these masked military government officials real rule over you in your town, and you're not going to be able to tell them no. They're going to want to hoard you off. It might be early in the morning. They say for the sake of, we got an executive order. We are operating under executive orders. You're going to have certain military officers, and you got a situation going on where one of the senators, I believe, or the congressman who's a ex-vet is making so-called defying orders of the president, and now they want him under treason. You got some serious insurrection-esque times that's about to come on full mode, man. Full manifestation, fruition. Why? Because the scripture says so. Trump going to have to do what the Lord say to do at the end of the day. So yeah, we're gonna put our trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We have to, we must. That's what we know now. We ask the Lord to keep us in that mentality, so we continue to know it. Throw out for that brother's precept. This is the book of Psalms 37 and 1. It says, a psalm of David: fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be envious against the workers of iniquity.
Right. So a little prep talk, through the Spirit, the Lord, he speaks about comforting one another with these words. So the Lord is pretty much telling us that, hey, don't trip, because like the brother brought out, the Lord should keep you in perfect peace whose mind is stayed upon thee. And pretty much you rest in the fact that knowing that the story is already written, the Lord declared the end from the beginning, saying his counsel shall stand. So if Esau is written within the Bible, the prophecies to go down, by the way the Most High says it's going to be, then that's just what it's going to be. And at the same time, the victor of the elect is written as well. So these are the things in which we hang our hat on. So it doesn't matter what Esau is doing behind the scenes or what he's cooking up. We know that stems from the Most High. So whose decree is going to stand? Is going to be Esau, the newly created Pharaoh, or is it going to be the Most High who hardened his heart also? See, you got it.
That's right. Verse 3: trust in the Lord and do good, so thou shalt dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed.
Yes. So trusting in the Lord is trusting in the report. That's pretty much you doing good. As you read Proverbs, I think the 4th chapter, it speaks about the Lord giving you good doctrine. So there's a particular path that we have been given, as far as, giving the Holy Spirit to walk in the ways of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, to abstain from abominations. And this is pleasing in the sight of the Most High. On top of that, you're hoping for the overthrow of your enemies. So that's you putting your trust in the Lord. So these pestilences, that's really made for the 2/3. When you think about it, that's made for the rebellious. But those who are inside this house, you're not going to see the pestilences consume you. All right, because you're going to be hedged up and guarded. Psalms 91 goes into that. See, so we, Lord willing, we be of that number that dwell in the land, the first fruit, the first go around, right? For doing good by believing in Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. Yep.
That's right. Let's get this last video popping off real quick. I brought this it's just a quick one. And then we'll be right out.
I think it's crazy. I didn't even know the plague was still something that was going on. For both
Videos called California Resident Tests Positive for Bubonic Plague.
Visitors and residents of South Lake Tahoe. It's shocking to hear about a case of the bubonic plague.
That's what's very news to me, and that's scary.
But the cases are rare, but they do occur.
Heather Orchard, the nursing manager for El Dorado County Public Health, says plague bacteria are commonly found in higher elevation areas. It's carried by rodents and often transmitted by fleas.
So this person was camping in an area in South Lake Tahoe and was bitten, likely by a flea.
That person is now getting medical treatment and recovering at home.
A lot of the symptoms are very common: nausea, vomiting, muscle aches, a bite that they may have noticed.
While these cases can be serious, they are curable.
It's treated with antibiotics and it's early identification.
The last human case of plague in El Dorado County was in 2020, but officials are routinely tracking it. So far this year, 4 rodents have tested positive in the Tahoe Basin.
We should have something letting people know that, hey, be careful, wear something. We should make some aware to people.
Still, there are a lot of questions from people who frequent the area.
Is this the only place it's been happening?
About a disease they first read about in their history books and the latest person to test positive.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories.
So what we just learned and witnessed there is that these diseases are very alive and well. Pestilences and the prophecies of Yahweh Shemel Shah is very alive and well. Let's just grab this last precept. Donna, we just gonna end it at that.
The book of Matthew 24:21, it says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be."
Second. There we go.
It says, "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened."
Right. Again, man, we dealing with the severity of deadly viruses, outbreaks, pandemics. The topic says deadly virus, new virus is spreading rapidly, and societal breakdown that comes along with it. We just touched on certain points, man. But the scriptures prophetically, we talking about this because of prophecy. We ain't talking about this because we so prepared, that we got a bunker that we gonna head down to, and we calling all Americans to take our contact information down and watch out and prepare your families and have a contingency plan. There ain't no contingency plans, y'all. All right, there's no plan B's. There's only containment and the lack thereof. Failed. Your government gonna fail you. Your healthcare system gonna fail you. They're not gonna be equipped to deal with the type of severity of this thing. Therefore, they're gonna usher in the government to do certain things. You're not gonna get your food. Society gonna collapse. People gonna panic. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna look bad. It's gonna look ugly because it is ugly. It's not gonna be situations that you could pop out of easily. Virus is gonna spread. You're gonna look at your neighbor. Your neighbor gonna cough, and that's the last time you're gonna want to see your neighbor. You're gonna hear a cough 2 doors down. All right, the guy who takes care of the electricity, he done quit. So the power in the city is faulty. You're gonna have brownouts. You're gonna have blackouts in the midst of the viruses being spread, airborne. You're walking outside with masks, but this virus is so small that it moves through the mask and you just inhaled it. It's going down, man. This strain of virus might make you bug out on your family, and then you just somebody end up unaliving the entire family because of the new strain. All right, and we're talking about government vehicles being brought in. They in full hazmat suits and they coming and they pulling people out of the homes. We're talking about a complete breakdown. Orders from the highest of government officials to bring you to the quarantine zone, or they shoot you dead on your steps. You got a choice. Yeah, people ain't ready for that type of situation, or they think they are. That's misleading. But as what brother just read, except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Yeah, we need those days should be shortened. The elect needs it because there is no contingency plan except for Yahweh Shah returning and delivering us out of here. That's why we doing these videos. There is no other method of getting out of here except your faith in Yahweh Shem Shah and the hope that you could be a part of that remnant that gets that salvation. There's a probability that you could hope and still not be a part of that elect. It's not up to you. So you can't save yourself, no matter how much you call upon the name, if you're not a part of the elect. But for those that are part of that remnant and that chosen, who were chosen by the way from the foundations of the world, you were already set up to believe before you even thought you had a will. So you're doing that now and you're believing now. You have a possibility and a potential to be saved in these last days from certain things that we just mentioned, viruses or military intervention and complete lockdown scenarios where food and water and health resources become scarce. Medication doesn't hit the same way it used to with these designer viruses. We headed to that last days, and this is how it's going to fail, man. And through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah, the Lord's going to sustain his prophets and his men. So we just want to end it there. Priest Abdan, you had anything you wanted to add?
Well, I posted a scripture, 2 Edges 9 and verse 6.
Oh,
if we could get that real quick.
We got that for
you. Because, like, if I may, just like you're going
want me to go through the vote? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just like you're going into how the Lord's going to pretty much, cause the worst thing that you can think of really take place, man. Is, on top of the pestilences, you're going to have famines. You're going to have, again, war. Okay, the narrative that Esau is going to bring is really going to bring forth that draconian measure to where they're going to be pretty much putting Jake to death over little nothing. Okay, they got the narrative about the pestilences as far as them having like delayed symptoms. So if you got a person looking at you, and you look like you fine, but they say that no, your symptom might not come like a week or 2 weeks later, then that's going to give them all the excuse in the world to round your ass up and take you and put you into a concentration camp, or what you call it, detainment camp.
Quarantine zone.
So, yeah, quarantine, the water. So hey, the narrative is gonna be painted, and Esau's he's gonna be given the full go ahead to come out to Jake, man. But those who are in this council, hey, this is where you want to be at. But yeah, you got it.
2 Ezra 9 and 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed.
Yeah, whereby ye have believed. Going back into you believing the report, so that produces you to act on doing what's pleasing to Yahweh Shem Shah, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a believer, you're going to do whatever you can to contribute to the body, man. And so these works that you accumulate are going to pay off in those times when you start to see the Lord step in on your behalf due to the miracles, the divine intervention. The pestilence is killing everybody, but it ain't touching you. So you're going to really see the value of doing what you're doing right now as far as sacrificing. You ain't able to do what you would want to do in the sense as far as like being in the world. Not saying that you want to be in the world, but, we just, the Lord got to sacrifice, basically. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to pay off in the long run with salvation. But you got it.
Shall be preserved from the said perils and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning.
There you go. So, hey, the elect ultimately desire what? Salvation. We desire to be protected. We fear the report, just like Habakkuk. You know, he heard the speech of the Lord and was afraid, man. So we likewise have that same fear instilled within us, where we want to do what we can and just hope to be delivered. You know, but like the elder Aram was going into about that hope. All right, you should always be in that mindset, not thinking that you already got it together, but you know, you still hoping that the Lord preserve you in these times. That's what we're reduced to. So the Lord's gonna really what's the word I'm looking for? Slaki. They ain't got no sleep. But pretty much the Lord the water. Praying for it. Sustain, keep you, provide all these good things in which we desire, man. The water, elder. You know what I'm saying? Preserve. It's another great one. Okay. From the said parallel that the scriptures going into. Okay. Because we want to go back home at the end of the day. We want to be saved from the Lord's wrath. But yeah, that was it.
Last one. This is Psalms 91:10. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling.
That's it. And if I may,
and that, go ahead.
You got it.
Same thing, same analogy. Everything that we can imagine, and the Lord is allowing us to come forth and bring as far as videos or proof that Esau is conspiring to utilize these diseases against American citizens and people of the world, you know, to bring about and conspire about his Order Ab Chao plan for a New World Order. We don't fear, because in the same ministry, in the same word, it's inspired for us to have hope. In the same word, it's inspired for us to believe in the divine providence of Yahweh Shemi Shai, which means we're going to be protected. There's going to be angels surrounding us in that time. Angels of the Lord encampeth around those that love him. There's going to be things that work out for us that don't work out for the average person, right? All things, the scripture says in Romans, all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord. So no evil befall thee. It says it, and there shall, right? And this is a time of evil, a time of perdition, a time of perilous times, we read. But yet and still, the miracles of the Heavenly Father are going to be on full display, not only in the works of destruction and terror and plagues, but also in the mode in the works of salvation and protection, divine protection. What was you going to say on that?
Yeah, I mean, just add on. You know, we pretty much, spoke on it, but this is what we rest on right here. The Lord said that, there's not going to be any evil befall you, but He's going to pretty much keep you from these plagues. So, is He going to lie about what He's saying? I don't think so. The Lord said He's not a man He shall lie. So, when you trust in these words, that pretty much activates the Lord stepping in for you with divine intervention, all because you trust in His name, you trust in His word. All right. So, we're commanded to keep the commandment, which is to believe in Yahweh Shemi Shai and the report, man. And from there, you're going to have their heads. The angels are going to be watching over you, because they're the ones that have jurisdiction over the plagues and, the peasantries or whatever it may be, even Esau. All right. Angels working on his mind to do these things. You think about the mills that are going to be shot off. All right. Well, there's angels working on Esau to facilitate that, to bring forth the will of Yahweh Shemi Shai. So if you got angels who are ministering spirits over the elect, then what can happen unto them unless the Lord says so or sanctions it? You see? So there's a whole nother realm outside of this earthly realm that's controlling the affairs here on the earth, man. So once you accept that and fully trust in that, then you sit back and you let the Lord do His thing, basically. As the Lord said, hey, pretty much be still and know that I am the Most High. He's going to be exalted, right? He's going to save the elect. Okay, all we gotta do is just believe. But yeah, that's all I got.
That's beautiful, man. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's what it is. We inspired to hope. That's all we got. And Abarat Desire, we're gonna end it there. Lord willing, this video was edifying. I felt like it was an edifying lesson myself, if I do say so. We want to give all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Hakwadash. All right, for giving us this word. you know, and continuing that stimulation process and stirring up our pure minds by way of remembrance of what's about to happen and the fulfillment of prophecy. We in these end times, man. Don't allow anything to get you too comfortable where you don't consider that first as you step outside your door, you know. Lord willing, everything, because we gotten into the most severe times since the beginning of time, like no man has ever seen since the beginning of time. It got to get devastating, but you got to believe. So, Lord willing, this video was edifying. We're gonna end it there. Till next time, Abaratizah, Shalom.
Shalom.